My name is Justin, and this is Ryan, and he's my right-hand man, and my sidekick. And we're in a band together. Not that kind of band! The kind of band that has performed thousands of shows all over the world, including 3,000 shows on the Las Vegas Strip. What are you doing? Not that kind of Vegas, this kind of Vegas. Now we turn our attention to doing good in the world, spreading our love, and inspiring others. So, welcome to our world of chaos
and kindness.
You were late. The year was 1999, one of the most difficult years in my life. It was my first true experience with anxiety and panic disorder. This left me stranded, my own fear in my head. And as you know, sometimes you are your worst enemy. And that was very true for me and the lifestyle I was living in 1999. I had succumbed to my fear. My anxiety left me stranded within my own house, only able to leave to go to work. That, for me, was the most difficult period of my life. And a movie came out in 1999 called Fight Club, and that changed my life forever. I had never heard of this movie. My friend came to my house and said, "Hey, let's go see a movie." Apprehensive because, as you know, when you have panic disorder or anxiety, leaving the house is a difficult task, an almost impossible one. But I took him up on his offer, and we attended the movie Fight Club. And the rest is history. Walking out of that movie theater, I was blown away. At that time, with no social media, no advertising, I didn't know what to expect. But the movie changed my life. And how could a movie have this kind of impact? Well, I kind of believe that we're all saying the same thing in life. All of us influencers, all of us motivational speakers, all the language is pretty similar. It's how we configure that language that resonates with every individual differently. So I'm here tonight to talk to you. In troubling times where all of us are going through major adversity, anxiety, stress, depression, and we need a beacon of light. I'm hoping that my words today will resonate with you, much like that Fight Club movie did in 1999. Leaving that movie, I had a whole new sense of direction. And there were several moments in that movie that were so impactful to me. One of those moments was a great quote by Tyler Durden. Now, Tyler Durden in that movie, if you're not familiar with it, was a character played by Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt's whole philosophy in the movie was just like the one that is surrounding me here, to live life minimalistically. The quote that hit me so hard that day was when Brad Pitt says, "This is your life and it's ending 1 minute at a time." And why is that important to understand right now? Why do I stand here trying to convince you that your life is so important? Because there's never been a time, at least in my lifetime, where there is so much stress, there's so much uncertainty surrounding us. And yet we lose sight of how valuable our life is. We lose sight of how much of an impact you can still have on your life and those around you. And I've kind of bought into that philosophy of this is your life and it's ending 1 minute at a time. I've also bought into the philosophy, just because you're alive, it doesn't mean you're living. And right now, with everything coming at us so fast, with all the social media, with all the impact, with all the information being soaked into every pore, it's so difficult for us to see through that, to see through all that muck and to find value in our life. But I just want you tonight to sit down, to relax, listen to what I'm saying, because these words are just as much for me as I hope they are for you. And I want you to write that sentence down. I want you to write, this is your life, and it's ending 1 minute at a time. You can't say, I'll change things in 2021. I'll change things in 2022. We can't keep putting off the things that we value most. Our friendships, our humanitarian spirit, the things that we want to do in our life that we put off for far too long. We can't buy into that. We can't allow fear to dictate, to control, and to steer our direction in the opposite way that we know we want to go. We're destined for greatness. Every individual here is destined for something as long as you're ready to take it on, head on. As someone who is a lifelong sufferer of anxiety, uncertainty, and fear, those are on my shoulders every day. But it's not until something gets hard is it worth doing. Not until something is hard is it worth doing. People always ask me, hey man, how do you have success? How do you have the energy? Because the more times that people said no to me in my life is when I got excited. So take all the negative people in your world. Take all the people who say you can't do it, including, and most importantly, yourself. Take all of that and put it together. And every time you hear those voices ring, that's when I want you to get fired up. That's when I want you to step up, not hide, not become reclusive, but do the opposite. Meet those demons head on. Stay right here, don't go anywhere, because coming up after the break, I'm gonna show you how we can all be happier. Welcome back to a very special episode of Chaos and Kindness. Today, we're talking about you and me and how we can get through these turbulent times. I can say right now, anyone watching this, it's 2020. I know the things that are going through your mind. This is a stressful life. So I put a post up on Facebook. I asked fans, I said, hey, what are you struggling with right now? That's the exact sentence I used. What are you struggling with right now? I had over 4,000 comments. And I just want to read this to you right here, right now. I want to be honest with you. I want to read for you right now what our fans said that they were struggling with. And the reason I want to do this is because I guarantee what you're struggling with is on this list. Money. Giving love and not feeling loved. Social distancing from loved ones, remote learning with their kids, COVID fatigue, paying their rent, major anxiety, self-discipline, self-love, feeling alone when I'm not. Feeling alone when you're not. This whole list is about you understanding that you aren't alone, even though you feel like you are. With winter approaching, the anxiety of the season, depression, losing my residence, the passing away of a loved one, hate towards each other. How much hate towards each other have we seen? And how is that affecting your happiness? Chemo, illness, loneliness, being on a transplant list with no hope in sight, trying to keep everyone happy. How many of you are doing that? At the sacrifice of what? Your happiness. Finding the right person to be with after a terrible breakup. I see time and time again, people who've gone through terrible relationships. Ultimately, finding direction. Faith in humanity. Over 70% of the people who commented on that post talked about how they struggle with anxiety. Like me, anxiety can encompass a lot of things, and you can get it from a lot of ways. And I'm just telling you, by sharing that list, if that doesn't expose the fact that you aren't alone in these struggles, that there's never been a time where we need to connect more as people in a positive way, instead of finding strife, finding unconnectivity, and not being unified. I wanted to share that list with you at home tonight so that you could realize that the struggle is real for everyone. I want to let you in on a secret right here and right now and expose the person I am. And I know right now that I have family, friends, and people that know me very well who are watching this episode. So I'm not lying when I tell you there's been times recently in the last several months I've been in a dark place. There's been times where I didn't know if I could go on. And I'm successful. I have nice things. I have people who care about me. I'm healthy. I have the whole world in front of me. And yet I still find myself lost. I still find myself sad. I lack direction. My purpose is not defined. And just like you, I'm looking for some kind of answer. I tell you that not to feel bad for me, but to show to you how humanizing the feeling of anxiety can be. And the word anxiety, not to be ever looked down upon or to be so taboo, but to look at the word anxiety as something that we all struggle with. Also on that list, you heard people talking about money, the difficulty in paying their rent, the difficulty in making ends meet. Over 80% of people said money was a difficulty. Happiness is so damn elusive, more than ever. Now, of course, you might be sitting there going, hey, I'm happy. Are you? It is a more difficult time to find happiness than ever before. And it's only getting more difficult. Everywhere you look, it's negative grind. Everywhere you look, people coming at you. You can't go on a social media post no matter what you do, without people attacking you. So you have to look within, because the value of happiness, it's not about how much money you have. You're gonna sit there and say, Justin, well, that's wrong. I don't have money to pay rent, so I'm unhappy. I understand the stress. I understand the anxiety. I've been there, okay? I understand. But going back to the movie Fight Club, one of the great quotes of that entire movie that I really love is, it's not until you've lost everything is your life worth anything. Because for you, if you don't have anything to lose, you have everything to gain. So right now, everything's hitting the fan. The whole world seems to be in chaos. This is not an episode about panic. This is an episode about resolution. This is an episode about you realizing that it's okay. This is an episode about you realizing that your life is ending 1 minute at a time. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a wake-up call. Welcome back to a very special episode of Chaos and Kindness. Today, it's about you, it's about me, it's about finding our happiness in these troubling times with so much uncertainty and no clear direction. It's about you being the best version of yourself and understanding it's never too late to take action in your life. Don't you get excited? Don't you feel that? Don't you ever just want to do something different? Get out of that cycle? Instead of saying, 2020 is the throwaway. Well, if your life is ending 1 minute at a time, and there's 2 months left in this year, 8 weeks, to find momentum, and the momentum that you'll gain by overcoming all that's going on, to be the better version of yourself, how much power does that give you? How much strength does that give you? Don't fall for playing the short game. Don't play the short game. The things that you want in life that have value, you know what they are? They're long plays. Don't make poor decisions today because they're easy, that affect your long-term decisions. And this applies to so many things in life. Let's use relationships or a job as an example. How many of you are afraid to pull the Band-Aid off in a relationship because a short-term impact seems devastating? But the long play, if you'd be happier being out of that relationship or out of that job, is really where you're gonna find the ultimate happiness. You have got to play the long play. Whatever gives you the optimal happiness on a long-term scale, those are the decisions that you need to make. Do not focus right now on 2020. It's almost become an internal meme where everything's okay because it's 2020 and we're wasting time in our happiness. You don't have centuries to live. I wish we did, but we don't. Do not waste time. Do not waste your valuable life. I always find things in my life that excite me, that give me passion, that make me want to get up and do it every day. Listen to the comments I was reading to you. People looking for transplants, battling chemo, losing loved ones. When's it your turn? When's it my turn? It could be just around the next turn. So I ask you, right here and right now, to make this episode have value. Not just for me, but more importantly for you. I'm living these ideologies every day. Every day I wake up, I fight those demons of anxiety. I fight the demons of self-doubt and fear, just like you. I promise you, when you wake up, think about me and go, Justin's fighting that today. I may put on an act. I may put on that all is good, but let me be transparent with you right here and right now. I'm with you. Right when I wake up, I'm overcome with those thoughts. When I go to bed, I'm overcome with those thoughts. You're just as special as I am. You're just as important as I am. I want you to stand up for your life. I want you to stand up for the meaning of your life. I don't want anybody else to conduct it. I don't want anybody else to lead you down a path that you don't want to be on. This is your opportunity. The opportunities are all around you. Just gonna open up your eyes and take all that you see and make them become something very special. And that being said, I'm gonna show you how I can take this abandoned building and turn it into performance art. With no rehearsal, with no scouting, just me, my imagination, my passion, and my purpose. What was really interesting about the choice of this location to shoot this video was a little known unstory. About 20 years ago, I visited this building. I actually got a ticket by a police officer for trespassing in this building. Thought it was kind of cool to come back to my old stomping grounds when I was a troublemaker. And now, here I am, turning it into a place of music and inspiration. I'm gonna show you how I can take this abandoned building and turn it into performance art. It's kind of funny because when I was a kid, my teachers would always kick me out of class for playing drums on a desk. Remember, in a world full of chaos, it's important that all of us continue to do the best we can to show our kindness.